Aloha, I am June Jones of the Houston Roughnecks, and this is the XFL show.
XFL is cooking.
Welcome, football fans. This is For the Love of Football, and this is the XFL show. I'm Alan.
And I'm Bryant.
You are. Alberta's ready for some football. So is Danny Garcia, but she can't talk about it too much. Damn NDAs. This is episode 172. It's all exciting and frustrating, Bryant, at the same time.
It's that is true. That is the motto of this week. It's super exciting. It's super frustrating. Basically, that's kind of what this show has been for what I would say. What are we on? Episode 172. So maybe for 140 of the 172, right? Because we've always been anticipating, excited. We're frustrated. Excited, frustrated. Now we're both.
It's both. I don't know which is more. Maybe we'll get to that on this episode. 724-565-4XFL is the number for you to call if you want to get involved. Leave a text or a voicemail. And actually, we got one. We got a good text. I totally forgot that I pinned to put on the rundown this week, Brian. So we could pull that up actually while we BS at the beginning of the show here. But yeah, I forgot about that. I just reminding everybody to call and text us. 724-565-4XFL at XFL Show on social media if you want to hit us up on Twitter or Instagram or wherever. No TikTok just yet. And of course, we are brought to you by Pretty Easy Podcasts. You could go to prettyeasypodcasts.com right now to start your own podcast on any subject matter. All you need is a microphone, a laptop, some headphones, and Pretty Easy Podcasts. You've got yourself high quality production going out to the world, and you're having fun podcasting. Do it now at an affordable rate at prettyeasypodcast.com. All right, Dinkin' and Duncan to start off the show, Bryant. You want to pull up that text while I read this guy Mike's comment on YouTube to everybody?
I got you, brother. We work together. Really, even though you didn't throw me to my little line on that Pretty Easy Podcast.
Oh,
we're good. It's okay. No, it's fine. It's fine.
I'm
Brian Solorzano.
Kind of hard. That's the opposite of the Pretty Easy Podcast slogan. We'll get to it at the end of the show. It's too much to get into. Mike on YouTube. I've been waiting to get to this because I want to blame you. I do not enjoy your patronizing of CFL fans, Mike says. But for the most part, I do enjoy your discussion and hot takes. That's
a backhanded comment. That's you.
I don't patronize CFL fans. I am one. I love the CFL. You.
Do you love the CFL fans? That's the question.
I mean,
look, you're wearing a Seattle shirt. You're obviously advocating for the XFL to leave BC, move into second team to Seattle. I see what you're doing there.
No, you could have a team in Seattle and in BC. The NHL is doing that next year. Why can't the CFL and XFL? But I don't know about the patronizing of CFL fans. That's not what we do here, at least intentionally. I don't even think Bryant does that. If you're a St. Louis fan saying that, that makes sense to me. But that ties in too, because last week we said everybody love everybody. Every CFL fan love every XFL fan, and vice versa. Say something nice to each other. And we gave that homework last week, Bryant. There wasn't enough love going back and forth. Say something nice about the other league on social media.
Right, XFL and I thought that we'd get a lot of people. So I guess it's hard for other people to say nice things about other people. At least when it comes to football fans, the line has been drawn. Maybe it's like NHL playoff time where there's just no friends right now. That's where we're in right now. You just kind of divided households, right? UCLA versus USC type things. I mean, that's just the way it is right now. It shouldn't be.
Plus, you give someone a platform, and what are they going to do with it when they see news like the CFL and XFL are negotiating alignment? They're going to say, oh, this is wrong, and that's dumb, and this is bad, and this is dumb, and this and that and the other. And then you say, why not say something nice?
I don't want to talk anymore.
And then they
Alan, you say
radio
something
silence.
nice. Kick everybody off. Let's say something nice about the CFL.
Something nice about the CFL. The CFL is a fast-paced game with actually awesome production that not enough people give credit for when it comes to how it is presented to the Canadians, at least. And maybe it's because I'm more prone to like that sort of stuff, but it is very Canadian. And some of like they will have a live rock and roll band at halftime for some of the big games.
Well, will they have Creed during the NHL playoffs in Nashville? Come on, like that.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty cool. And also the game is just like, before you know it, you got points scored. Like, it's a fun game to keep track of. I've never bet on a CFL game yet. I cannot wait to do that. There's nothing boring about the CFL, and I really, quite frankly, enjoy the CFL more than I'm going to say. I'm going to say sometimes the NBA could be. I love the NBA, especially right now with the playoffs. But I'd say overall, I'm probably a bigger CFL fan than NBA fan. Bryant, and I've loved the NBA my entire life, but it's just more action. It's got so much action, and the crowds are really cool. I could say all sorts of nice stuff about the CFL. I love Rough Rider fans.
So could I, but I'll digress, and I don't want to patronize anybody and make them feel like I'm.
He's afraid to say something nice now because you're gonna.
I feel like I can't say anything now. I've given the CFL the credit. I just try to keep things honest and perspective. That's all this is. It's perspective. It's honesty. The CFL has its problems. The XFL has its problems too. I don't sugarcoat much on this show. I try to find positives, like why we're doing this show at 11 p.m. on the West Coast. I try to find positives. I got to get up tomorrow at 6 with a baby, but I'm here with one of my best friends. Doing a podcast, which more can I ask for?
What happens when you take a later flight on a recording night? My bad. But hey, at least we got to watch the Spring League games tonight, and there's some stuff to talk about there. That
is true. Alan, I was able to find that text if you want to go through it real quick.
Yeah, real quick before we get into the cover two. What was said in that text message?
It was from a 207 number. Didn't actually get the name, I don't think.
No,
we did. We got a Jason. Right? We did.
Yeah, I remember a name on there.
And Jason says, hey, Alan and Bryant, how'd you guys meet and become friends? Now, I just called you my best friend, so I should have said, I don't even know if we are friends, but it's fine. We only talk on Thursdays when we do this show.
I don't talk to this guy unless it's in front of all of you.
I know exactly how me and Alan went because I have the elephant brain. I don't think Alan knows how we met at all. Nope.
I know you. We went to school.
Yes, we went to school together.
We went to middle school.
It was Mr. Mitchell's 7th grade computer class.
Computer class?
Yeah. He made us...
They had all the colorful MacBooks all over. We were
pretty much all what they had there. He made us do online profiles so we could do chat rooms. So we all created our own online profiles on this special site. Weird things. This is 2000, so kind of get with it here.
Year 2000.
The year 2000. Alan... I don't know if I can say this, Alan. You can bleep it out if you want. Alan's nickname is Taz. I didn't know this at the time. So I'm scrolling this page. I see a profile that says Taz. I was like, oh, okay, who is this guy? Says he likes wrestling. He likes sports. He lives in California. All this stuff. Like, so, I don't know what it was. And I was like, oh, this guy's pretty cool. And I think I even turned to you. I was like, Alan, look at this guy. He's kind of cool. He's like, I'm Taz. I was like, you're Taz? What? And then the rest is history. Went to a Monday Night Raw. Yeah, swear to God. Happened a couple weeks after. After a couple weeks after that, we went to Monday Night Raw.
Awesome.
Started trading wrestling tapes.
Yes, trading tapes, playing floorball, playing hockey. Yes. Long time close personal dear good friends here.
21 years later, here we are.
It's a good thing Bryant has the memory there for Jason's answer there, because if it was just me, I'd be like, we went to school together.
I should have let you go first. Yeah. What does Alan remember?
I remember. I think that's, well, the thing is, like 99.9% of my friends I've met the same way. including my wife, kind of, on a chat room. Or not a chat room, but on the internet. Same thing.
That's true. That's a good point. Well, no, you met, was it Jake who saw you with a wrestling shirt?
I saw, or it's, anyone I'm friends with.
It's wrestling related.
Wrestling related, or it's online-ish, or revolving around wrestling usually.
If it's not online or wrestling related and you consider yourself one of Alan's friends, you're not.
Unless
no, don't cover yourself. It's just the truth.
Unless you're affiliated with the XFL. I consider anyone I've come in contact with through the XFL as a close personal dear friend as well.
Oh my gosh.
Thanks for the personal question there, Jason. Happy to answer that. We don't get too many of those types. I knew I pinned a question for the text messages this week. I almost forgot it. That was a total accident. Good thing we caught that. All right, let's do it now. This week's cover 2.
I will be coaching like a crazy man.
Okay. I don't know how much we could say here without getting in trouble. We're not under NDA, are we? As ex-employees of the league, does that cover us?
I don't.
We
didn't sign anything.
Yeah, you can't.
Well, one, let's be real.
unknowing.
We don't know anything to not say anything about. So,
no, I don't know anything. NDA. No, I don't know anything.
No digas algo.
There you go. Danny Garcia.
Por favor.
Was this an Instagram post?
Instagram story. I'll teach you on social media at some point.
President of the XFL posted, and I don't know if we're going to pull up the image of what it was. It looks like it was in El Baño in the bathroom, and Danny Garcia said, when you're working on innovation for XFL, but the NDA is so deep, the only thing you can show is the art in the women's bathroom. And the art looks like, I would say this art's really nice. It actually reminds me a lot of Michael Jackson, but it looks also like a fashionable businesswoman maybe in the 80s or 90s. Very nice bathroom art. Any way to pinpoint where that art is put up in a bathroom somewhere?
So I don't know how much you took stock in all this and how much you dug into all of it, but I did a couple things. I did a reverse image search to see if I could find where this artwork actually existed, to see if somebody had, maybe it's a famous piece and we just don't know it. I'm not an art guy. Are you an art guy? I couldn't tell you if it was or wasn't.
I mean, I know, like, I could answer maybe some Jeopardy questions, but I don't know about bathroom art.
There you go. See? So I didn't know about that one. So I tried, didn't find anything. The other thing that I did, and this one might be a little bit more helpful, is that I was able to find that location that she had put on there as undisclosed. People might not know this, but on Instagram, when you put a location, it has to be an actual location. You can't just make up a location. So if you click on the thing that says undisclosed location, it takes you to a part of the map. And this was just outside Fort Wayne, Indiana. What that means, I have no idea. I don't know that. But
Fort Wayne, Indiana? It's where my car broke down driving cross country when I went to college for the first time. What?
For the first time.
What are XFL owners doing in Fort Wayne, Indiana? Is that like
now there's a close proximity to a border is what I've noticed with Canada. So maybe they're having to discuss through a fence since the borders are still closed. Who knows? But
do you think this is like a mutual, neutral meeting ground?
Possibly.
Kind of how like Indianapolis is home to the.
There's also a reflection
TSL and the combine.
I couldn't figure that out. I did take some stock into this image. I wanted to see if we can get to because in reality, like we've mentioned a couple weeks ago, this would be like the story to talk about if this was 2018. It's not. We're not talking about that.
I mean, I work on a detective's podcast, but I'm no detective.
Yes, you can fake that. I can say that I'm in New York right now on Instagram.
And then you put that button that you clicked and swerve everybody, making them think you're in Fort Wayne, maybe on a road trip to go, I don't know, see the childhood home of Larry Bird and French Lick. I don't know. I can't connect this to anything.
Well,
But-
I mean, now, okay, so let's take all the detective work out of it and just say NDA is so deep. Like, what can
coded
they
language. Coded
NDA,
language.
You see the caps, but NDA deep. Maybe we got to scramble those letters and figure out something.
Oh,
there.
yeah. The BU.
Dad.
Beep dad nut. You could get those words out of that. Beep dad nut. What's that mean?
Beep dad nut.
All right. Time back in. We totally edited that for a mental breakdown, because then we started doing the coded language and said some things we don't want to air in case some of you youngsters are following along. But yeah, I don't think any coded language is put in this.
No,
I'll say
sure,
that.
no.
I don't know if
I do appreciate her
was
giving us something, interest, putting it out there, little bait, whatever it may be. It's fun to see that Danny Garcia is doing these types of things.
my favorite part about all this. This means this is just fun. This is the owner one of the owners having fun with it. But my favorite part about this is that in the future, 3, 4, 5 years down the line, old Elephant Brain here is going to one day on the show be like, hey, remember when Danny Garcia couldn't even say anything about this league that we're following now? And she Instagrammed from a bathroom in Fort Wayne, Indiana. And now we know all this information about that day. And now we're enjoying the league. Remember that? And I'll be like, no.
No.
There you go.
I could say that next week and you probably wouldn't remember, to be
Probably not.
honest.
Is that risky? It's an NDA too. Like anything you do regarding that NDA.
But this isn't anything that says anything other than, hey, I'm working on innovating the XFL. Like, that's not something that we don't know.
And I'm on an NDA. What if like?
Can you not say
knowing
that you're on an NDA?
I think you're fine with that. I think that's okay. But giving up that you're in Fort Wayne, Indiana, that could be too much TMI. That could be too much information given there. If that's
we'll
true.
tell your what's your whatever that podcast is with the detective. If you need some help, tell him.
Yeah,
I'm great with the social media help.
Maybe should we get a detective on this to help us track this down? I don't know. I think I could wait. I'm more concerned with other things like the CFL returning. While the talks with the XFL and the CFL go along, we expect those to take a while. And in the meantime, at least my main focus is hoping and praying the CFL actually kicks off. Part 2 of the cover 2 this week. A lot of movement this week without any actual movement. So first off, we're hearing now July 10th is the training camp date that a lot of teams are aiming for in the CFL. We know August 5th is the announced planned date, but of course that's pending provinces and cities and governments allowing it to have fans in the stands for the CFL. And you have politicians commenting all over Canada about the potential of a CFL season with fans in the stands, but the politicians in Alberta are basically ready to rock. They're ready to open it up and let's kick off. It's looking like if Alberta can get to that 70% threshold, which could happen, then you're going to have full fans in the stands in Calgary and who's the other team in Alberta? You got Calgary,
BC,
and
BC's
in
British Columbia. Excuse me, Edmonton.
Edmonton. There you go. You got Edmonton.
Don't laugh at me. I still figured it out when you were laughing at me. I saw you. I know.
Well,
I might not know Canada, but I know it better than you.
It's funny, of all the teams though that we thought were in Alberta was the team
is the one that's actually named after a province.
Yeah. So Alberta's got its 2 teams that'll be able to have full fans in the stands. Saskatchewan's its own, yeah. And then we'll see what they do there. But right now, Alberta is looking like the Florida, Texas of Canada.
And I think
if you're
Calgary plays in a dome stadium. No, BC does. BC does.
But regardless, it's all pending the governments, and right now the government that looks like they're down for CFL football to kick off August 5th is Alberta. The others, we don't really know so much. But then you also have some good signs that August 5th date is plausible. First and foremost, with the Alberta governments, I believe you have what's this, like a premier or someone in charge. Jason Kenney, a head politician in Alberta, basically said,
like the governor,
whatever the equivalent is to America. I love this. Our learning about Canada each week.
Please let us know in the comments.
Let us know. Yeah, that's what it's all about. We're learning.
Not
We're not patronizing.
But if you want us to Patreon, let us know. We could totally do that too.
Jason Kenney says the Edmonton football team in Calgary St. Peters could sell as many seats as possible in their outdoor stadiums if they meet the targets under our plan in the province, and that's the 70% threshold. So knowing that, you also have reports from John Hodge at 3 Down Nation that the league is now...
Can I, real quick, 70% threshold of vaccinated people over the age of 12. It's not 70% of attendance or all that. It's a pretty big goal.
Yeah, it's a lot of people. That's a big chunk of the population. But well on their way. A lot of Canadians have at least one shot, I've heard, are getting them now. They're hopefully by then will be at a good number. But John Hodge of 3 Down Nation reported, Bryant, that with that news, the league is kind of, and we knew this might happen, the league is drafting schedules where there wouldn't be any games played in British Columbia or Ontario. So in Alberta, maybe Saskatchewan, but some teams playing on the road, at least for a portion of this.
I thought British Columbia was open too. They were thinking West Coast. Is that not the case? Am I mistaken there?
Yeah, they're the West Coast. We heard from Dave Naylor, and I've read the West Coast was more open, but I guess BC, and it's more populated there.
Well, the Canadians, the Montreal Canadiens are actually, because of winning Game 5 today, are hosting Game 6, I think, on Saturday, and they're allowed to have fans in their building. I don't know how many.
At a limited capacity.
Yeah, so there's things opening up for Canada. I get it. It's looking better and better. But the CFL, and we'll get to maybe a bubble type thing here in a little bit, but the CFL still needs to find ways to make money. I brought this up a couple weeks ago. I'll bring it up again. If the owners see light at the end of the tunnel, meaning they see something with the XFL at the end of the tunnel that they are going to make money, it's going to be good for them, it's good business, then maybe they fork over the cash to say, hey, we'll pay for this season. We'll play with 5,000 people in the stands. We'll do what we can to get this season off the ground. But the owners have to see something for that.
It's so tough because they have all these prospects. If you're a CFL owner up in Canada, you have single game betting on the horizon. Not quite past yet though, but looking good. Big revenue stream there. You have XFL negotiations. So you have all these like maybes. So you still kind of need this season to happen. You do, I think. And so a partial bubble season, I think it would be fine. We'll see where we're at, but we're not going to know at least for a couple weeks, I think, based on reports that, still early mid-June is when decisions will be made by governments on fans in the stands in the CFL. But at least the good news is you have at least one province who seems to be ready to welcome games. And that'll be awesome if you have a little bubble season for the beginning of the season, at least. That's fine. As long as we're getting the CFL, I think that's good, at least for me. But then who knows about the financial implications for those teams that are playing away from their home stadiums. I think the CFL is going to be able to make it work because they've said as much. They have backup plans to their backup plans, and that'll be fine. Obviously, we're rooting for everybody to be in their home barns, but if you go based on Mike Florio's reporting here this week, Bryant, everybody's going to just be playing at home and. He takes his headphones off when I say Mike Florio's name. Everybody, August 5th is happening. Kickoff CFL. Get ready. Here we go. But not really, because that's not official yet. Where did that Pro Football Talk report come from this week? Stay in your lane, PFT. Talking CFL.
Yeah, it's you're dragging everyone with you when you say things like that. Everyone, all the CFL fans that are like, "Oh my God, Pro Football Talk saying they're going to play." It might happen. I don't know if I'll give Pro Football Talk their credit. They know their stuff, but this to me seems like it's still an answer. Like, and Dave Naylor even said as much after those tweets started coming out. There's still no plan.
So many people.
There's still no plan in place other than, hey,
TSN,
what's going to happen? Yeah.
3 Down Nation. All these people in the media who cover the CFL way more than PFT said, hey, we've talked to agents. We've talked to these people. There's no movement. There's nothing new since the league said this is our plan. There's nothing from anybody saying, hey, things are looking good for August 5th. I mean, you could read the tea leaves in some places that it is looking likely, but nothing official. And that was a very just straightforward, no insight really given other than, I don't know, did Mike Florio read the announcement about the CFL's plan and say, oh, it's happening, and not look into it? I doubt that, because he's an excellent reporter. So interesting report put out by a football media entity in the States covering the CFL. And then a lot of people not debunking it, but saying, hey, there's like more to wait on. There's nothing. We're not hearing anything, unless you guys info no one has. But then, like I said, read the tea leaves. You have a spring league coach, Bryant, Jeff Reinbold, who's the special teams coordinator for the Hamilton Tiger Cats, was coaching in the spring league since things shut down in Canada, and was there this season. They're halfway done with the season, and was with the Generals. And this week tweeted out, all right, thanks TSL. It's been awesome. Had a lot of fun, but time to get working on the CFL season. He went back to the Tiger Cats. So you have coaches leaving their jobs in the middle of a season thinking the CFL's kicking off pretty soon. So that's a good sign.
There are a lot of good signs. I'm not saying there aren't. I just don't know what the CFL plans on doing when it comes to, hey, this is what on June 15th. I think that's the date. It's somewhere in that range, I'm sure. What's the season going to look like? Meaning money-wise, what's it going to look like? And do we want to move forward with this? You can't assume that fans in the stands are going to be allowed in September. You can't assume those types of things, because what if they're not? Are you going to stop the season in the middle and be like, sorry, we're going to AAF this? We don't want to put the money into it anymore. Sorry, we can't do this.
Yeah, I hope not. Not that. Let's. If you say AAF at this point, I'm doing this with the headphones too. We don't want that situation.
Yeah. For 21 years, Alan has been taking my gimmicks too, by the way, just so you guys know.
I do everything better, except dance. I'll give you that. It's great.
Twinkle toes.
He's got the twinkle toes. And also,
look, I hope we play. Go ahead.
What about this punter John Ryan as well? The quote you sent in the show prep this week. Rough Riders punter, Canadian. I think he said it perfectly, and that's what we said at the top of the show.
His quote was, I think there could be some kind of alliance without a merger.
Yeah. I
have some partners who have something to do with the Dallas team, which is, I guess, the Renegades, and they kind of talked to me like an agreement would be that the CFL would kind of share the on-field experience with broadcasting with the XFL, and the XFL kind of would share some of the social media and some of the stuff they do on that side of it. They would kind of collaborate on some of those things to make it more powerful. Whatever it's going to be, I'm not too sure, but I'm excited and frustrated at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, all of his insight and what he's hearing, I'm not taking anything too seriously right now.
Do you think the XFL put his entire season on hold for a retweet?
Yeah. The end of that, though, was my favorite part. Whatever it is, I'm excited and frustrated at the same time. Hear. Absolutely. Because really none of us know. you could be hearing all kinds of rumors and have friends at what places, and nobody really knows. You know why? Because those NDAs are deep. No one really knows.
So deep.
NDAs are deep. We don't even know where Danny Garcia is. I hope she enjoyed.
Where in the
Fort
world
Wayne.
is Danny Garcia?
That could be a new segment on the show. Table that. That's a good idea. All right, there you go. That's the cover too. A lot of fun this week in CFL 2021 speculation, but nothing official just yet. We'll keep our eyes peeled. And like we say, most anticipated CFL season in XFL history. That's why we're talking all about it. We are legitimately excited for the CFL season as XFL fans. And you should be too. Because whatever the alignment ends up being, they're going to be related to each other somehow now once, it all goes through. So you need to be paying attention to it. It's a part of, because it'll be a part of the XFL. And the XFL will be a part of the CFL in some form or fashion. We don't know which form or fashion that is, which is frustrating and exciting.
Good form and good fashion by that model in that picture too, by the way. So
yes, I oh my God, that'd be a deep cut XFL like artifact now one day to have. Like if you had that in your office, the Danny Garcia bathroom art from 2021.
If it's in Fort Wayne,
before it all.
I'd have to find someone to go with me. Like the wife would have to be like, all right, go into this women's bathroom. See if you see this picture in there. Go grab that.
If you're a longtime listener or viewer, big time XFL fan and collector, I mean, could there be a better, a rarer artifact than the bathroom art Danny Garcia tweeted this week? That's like a piece you got to have. It'll
Good
be
subway
the XFL
tile
Hall of Fame
too.
one day.
What if it's like in a big building? There's like 10 floors. There's probably like 50 bathrooms in there.
We find out where this bathroom is. We are going to Tom Cruise Mission Impossible.
If there's any way we can get The Rock to retweet this because he has all these followers, I guarantee you someone's like, I know where this is.
Although I'm assuming it's in the women's bathroom, so it'd be extra tough not only to get into the building, but then also in that room. It's a good challenge for someone out there. Not advocating stealing, obviously. I'm sure there are copies.
But if you know where it is, I just don't know the
somewhere.
location. Yeah.
And if I could offer someone some cash for it, I'd love to buy it. Put it right there behind me. Well, this office is going to be gone soon anyway, but wherever the new office is going to be, I'm getting that. I have to just print it out. Look good up there, too. Top left. I like that. All right, let's get into this overtime from the Spring League tonight that kept us up so late this week in this week's Hot Read. Hal Mummy versus Jerry Glanville happened again, Bryant.
Play fast, do it again.
In the Spring League. That means linemen versus... What's Glanville's team?
Conquerors. I don't know. Is it the Conquerors? It's not the Aviators, which should be.
Should be. The Aviators stink on toast. They were...
I'm sorry. Stink on toast?
Yeah, it's a saying. It's an idiom. Popular.
Okay, now you're patronizing me.
Parts of the
I've
country.
never heard it before. Your parts of the country?
That. I learned it from Scotty Farrell when I worked on his show. He said it all the time. Penguins stink on toast, bro. And they do. It's true. But this game was the second Spring League game tonight was like a 30-6 rout last time I looked. It was bad. But the linemen and the Conquerors was a 39-39 overtime matchup. And really, I mean, the implications of the Spring League and who wins it and whatnot, like we say, it's about the players that league, not the results. But interesting, it goes to overtime, which the XFL never did, Bryant. And I'm sure not you don't forget, but 99% of the XFL fans probably forget what XFL overtime was supposed to be. Shootout style.
Style. From the 5-yard line, alternating plays. Supposed
never
to be
happened.
We got close, I think. Man, where did we get close? I think that they started quoting it during the LA Tampa game, the last game of the season, because it was getting that like feel. But yeah, never
quite. Yeah,
could have happened if they let the game finish in Houston when the Dragons were down there.
Oh, don't remind me about the end of that game. Yikes! But the
never ended. Still going.
The overtime in the Spring League, I believe is the overtime that the Baltimoreans of the NFL, the Baltimore Ravens, suggested for the NFL for a rule change, or at least something similar. It's called spot or choose. That's the nickname they gave it. We've got it up here on the screen. The overtime procedure of the Spring League. Now, Bryant's going to go over exactly what it is here, what you're looking at on the screen if you're watching on YouTube. And for the podcast community listening, he'll explain it. But also understand that this overtime procedure also comes with coaches at the 50-yard line prior to the overtime starting, which is better than the overtime itself. Okay, Bryant, explain the overtime.
The only thing that was missing was a weigh-in right before they met. Okay, so I just found this out tonight. I didn't know this was going to happen, so I'm glad here to share this with y'all. Overtime period starts with the coin toss. Okay, if you win the coin toss, you can choose to either pick where they spot the ball and which end zone to defend, or you can pick to begin overtime on offense or defense. Overtime period will consist of 1 7.5-minute period. There will be no kickoff, at least not to start overtime. I think after you score, there is a kickoff. Each team will have 2 timeouts, and if the score remains tied at the end, then guess what? We have a tie.
So those are the rules. Okay, I got it. Now back to the best part of overtime. The coaches learning what we just learned on live TV. That's what happened tonight. I mean, obviously, Hal Mummy and Jerry Glanville were told and probably agreed to the overtime rules, but as coaches maybe didn't give it that much thought prior to the game. But then they got there. They had fun with it. Hal Mummy didn't look as confused as Jerry Glanville looked. Maybe which is why Hal Mummy ended up winning overtime.
I think Jerry Glanville.
But it starts off with... Well, first off, Jerry Glanville was wearing his headset the whole time while the ref's talking, and then I think he realized, wait, I can't hear this guy, and he's explaining the rules. I should take him off. And then he took off his headset. The referee gave a very thorough, precise, even with examples, a description. So the coin toss, all in all, took about 5 minutes, and Hal Mummy and the announcers were kind of laughing because it was taking a while. But at the end of the coin toss, Jerry Glanville won. He got heads. And he said, I want them to choose the spot of the ball.
That's not part of the rules, by the way. Just putting that out there.
I know. Aren't you supposed to choose what you want? You choose.
You don't get to defer.
Deferred.
You don't get to defer.
He deferred, which the referee let him. And Hal Mummy said, 14-yard line going that way. And then Jerry Glanville says, we want the ball. All right. Let me just say, I'm so glad this is not the XFL overtime. It's interesting, highly entertaining for that segment. I didn't even watch the overtime play, actually, because I came up here and started prepping for the show because I want to be able to sleep eventually. But this just seemed like a cluster from the word go. So I'm happy the XFL did not adopt this, or the NFL, or anybody other than the Spring League adopting this. I don't think they should. The spot or choose definitely should stick with the TSL. I don't know about you, Brian.
I'll give you my honest opinion, and I think this was a cluster. It's an interesting concept. What we stay away from when it's the XFL, you stay away from gimmicks. That's all this felt like, was a gimmick.
Such a gimmick. And
it's not.
The strategy is.
Well, the strategy is undetermined because it's going to take years to figure out where should I spot it. Should I be on offense? Should I be on defense? Hard. Do I want to win the coin toss? Do I want to lose the coin toss? Like, there's so many things that go into all this. To me, beyond the fact that this overtime period was just kind of weird and peculiar and just kind of confusing, because you and I had a little discussion before this, and I was like, okay, this kind of makes sense. I don't think the I don't think the Spring League should have done this. You are giving your players, remind you what the TSL is. Remind you what TSL is. It is a league for players to show off what they can do. That is what the
Players
TSL
Club.
is.
Yes.
Right. To only give them 7.5 minutes of overtime having to go the length of the field. Like how much? What if one team can take that entire period and just be like, okay, we're done. You took 6.5 minutes to score. I got 45 seconds now. What does that do? It doesn't do much. You got to give players a chance to do their thing. I would have gone with college overtime. You put the ball at the 25, see how your players do in the red zone, give them some more red zone tape, and call it an overtime. Maybe go 2 rounds, 3 rounds, if anything, and that's it.
Yeah, it doesn't benefit.
If you're a
the
players league, you got to give your players exposure, and I think that would have been better.
Yeah.
Give them some red zone tape.
These rules are just, I think, more experimental, and they're just saying, hey, this is a good place to test this out. People are advocating.
Do you think the NFL
for it.
signed them a check? Test this rule out. Here you go. No way. Absolutely not.
I don't think so, but I mean, I also don't. It's a rule I'm not for, because I mean, winning the coin toss in overtime used to mean something, but really it's like everything's even, really. If you really want, it does even things out for overtime. I mean, that's one thing. If you really want that puts less emphasis on who wins the coin toss. I guess that's the big benefit of it, right? Am I missing that?
Only thing I don't know why you put it on the 1. You say I'm going in that direction. So if you pick defense, I only need 1 yard. That's how I'm doing it.
Wait, so if you win, you say I'm spotting the ball, and I want the ball on the 1 going towards.
I'm going towards the end zone. So you pick what you want to do.
That's what I'm doing. I want the ball, and I have 4 downs to score from the 1 yard line.
No,
okay.
I want the 1, and I'm going that way. I'm putting it on your 1 yard line, and I'm going that way.
Oh yeah, and then I get I get to choose who has the ball, and I'll say I'll play defense.
Okay, that's fine. I'm going to try to stop you, and I'm going to try to get a short kick out of you.
You're saying the ball's going towards the end zone.
Yes.
And now it's my choice.
Now it's your choice.
Oh, no, I want the ball then. Yeah, I want the ball. I'm going to score.
No, do you not understand the overtime rules?
I do.
I choose the location and which direction I'm going in. So if I put it in the 1, I'm going. Yes, you do.
Your direction.
Yes, you do. Let's pull up the rules again. Pull up the rules one more time. Here we go.
You don't.
The winner of the coin toss will have the choice of either pick the spot of the ball and which end zone to defend. Right? So I'm putting it on the 1, and I'm defending the back, yes.
Okay.
Right? So now you choose either you're going to stop me from the 1, or you're going to have 4 downs to get out of your end zone.
Out of the end zone. Why didn't Hal Mummy do that?
I don't know. I figured that out in 5 minutes. You decide what you want to do from that point. Why did you put it on the 14? Is that how many grandchildren he has? Was that his lucky number?
He won the game.
Yeah. Because Glanville's like, okay, I'm going to go 84 yards.
Well, 86.
Oh, sorry, 86, excuse me.
But it's so confusing. Why did they do this? Why did they do this?
And the reason it's a 7.5 minute period is because they had to spend 5 explaining it all.
That's true. So I think that died on its first go around.
Well, it's going to stick around, I'm sure, for the whole season. But
do you think
whatever.
The XFL overtime, the way it was written, will stay?
So the CFL rules, Alan, right, are basically college style, but only a few attempts before you end up getting a tie game. So not necessarily kind of what I was saying that TSL should do, which is, hey, do a couple, possessions from like the 20, get some red zone tape, and call it a day. Because again, who cares about the games? It's about the players. The XFL one, I would have much rather preferred to see, and I hope it sticks around because I think it's something that would bring us excitement, and I don't think it's as gimmicky as what we just saw. It's pretty straightforward. It's football. You're from the 5 yard line. Handle it. Let's go.
I mean, the TSL thing, the more I think about it, maybe the coaches just blundered it today, and it would have been a little bit more exciting and fun. But
I got screwed up on this one. I got screwed up here.
Yeah, can you imagine if Jim Zorn was in the first one?
You gotta be kidding me!
Wait. So I get to choose where I put the ball. I put it in my end zone.
Yeah, I want the ball in my end zone. Give me 6 points. I'll go for 2.
I have to kick it off from my 1? Well, I'll kick it off from the 35. I don't understand what the problem.
Yeah, so that's also, I wonder what Canadian fans, I don't think Canadian fans like their own overtime. So I think this XFL, if there's alignment and eventually
no ties,
rule changes,
but no forever.
The XFL OT should win out as in like a fan vote, hopefully. Shootout, baby. So we never got to see it.
I forget so it was going to be from the 5-yard line. I'm trying to remember exactly. I think it was, I have the stats here. The total percentage of 2-point conversions in the XFL, which was from the 5, was 18 out of 47 for 38%.
Okay.
The 1-point conversions were from the 1-yard line or 2? I think it was a 2.
The 2.
41%.
And 3-pointers.
And 3-point conversions were 31%. So I think a 38% chance basically says you're not going to have a tie game at the end of 5 possessions.
And remember, we have 5 rounds of shooting out in the XFL. And it's not sets of downs, it's one play. Single play possessions.
Right.
So good. Gotta dig into the playbook.
The only thing that I would have loved, honestly, Alan, is that if the defense did any type of holding or pass interference, that it automatically counts.
The score?
Yeah.
You hold on a throw into the end zone, you give them, what, a point?
Yep. You give them the try.
1 point. So put the try.
2 points, yeah.
Ooh, that's really tough on the D.
Well, but
you're making
then I'm just going to hold the guy all day long.
Yeah,
like
you're right. You're making it like, yeah, you're right. It's got to be like soccer where it's easier to score than it's to not.
Yeah.
And it goes on forever.
I'm all done with it. Give them 10 players.
Man, you and Villarreal did this week. Endless penalties, endless shootout. But not the TSL style. Watching that really was exciting, but it was frustrating at the same time. And that is, I guess, the theme of this week, Bryant. And that's where we'll leave it. Fun.
I think
fun as usual, as we've had every day since that fateful day in the computer class. Or wherever I met you.
Mr. Mitchell's computer class. Alan, I think it's just kind of unfortunate that we never got to see that overtime. To see what we did see, I mean, it's cool to see something different. I don't like the NFL's rule. I don't think many people do. 10 minutes, tie games. Like, who wants that? I don't.
Would you want the NFL's rule currently or the TSL's rule?
Ooh, probably the NFL's rule.
I would do the TSL rule in the NFL as long as we get the coaches at the 50.
Who would you want to see the most?
I think seeing Bill Belichick have to walk out to the 50-yard line and like be cordial with another human being.
Sean McVay, just a young cat.
Just acknowledging in the heat of competition too would be really fascinating. But no, this doesn't work.
It doesn't work. And
it's interesting, but too much.
Yeah. There was a couple games where we got close. Like, Vipers lost by 8. That's a 1-score game.
I seem to feel like there was a DC game that was in danger of going to overtime.
It wasn't week 3 against the Wildcats, baby. 39-9. Guardians and Wildcats were 14-17. So that one was actually pretty close. You were there.
Yeah.
I think LA missed a kick. That would have been a great one.
That might have been it.
DC and St. Louis was 15-6. So,
well, hopefully when the XFL does return week 1, we are owed an overtime by the universe. That's my bold prediction. Week 1 of kickoff 2023 or whenever the hell it is, we'll get an overtime. Calling it now. I won't remember I called it, but you will.
I probably will. I will say that Alan said he called the fact that the MVP of the league would come from the Houston Roughnecks quarterback position.
I did.
And he still claims he got it right. I guess so. Well, if you want to hear more of the shenanigans that Alan says on this show that he thinks are actual predictions, but you know what, aren't really predictions, well, then come and catch us here every single Friday right here on your favorite podcast app, Google, Apple, Stitcher, TuneIn, wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure you give us that 5-star review and tell your friends about us. If you got a question, comment, or a topic you want us to cover, like when me and Alan met, well, then text and call or call the XFL Fan Line, 724-565-4XFL. Standard text messaging rates and international rates do apply. Also follow us on social media at XFL Show, Twitter, Instagram, Alan's favorite, Facebook. Maybe we'll start a TikTok here pretty soon. Or if you want to say hi, hello, well, subscribe and watch us on YouTube at youtube.com/This Is the XFL Show, the official YouTube page of This Is the XFL Show. And don't forget to check out our sponsors, Pretty Easy Podcast. Go to prettyeasypodcast.com and get started today because they make podcasting pretty easy.
He did the thing. We almost forgot to do the thing, but he did the thing. We got it in there.
The streak is alive.
So you're putting it on the 1 and defending the field. So it's my choice to either try to score from the 1.
No.
And from the 1.
Try to stop me from the 1.
And go the length of the field, or stop you from scoring 1 yard touchdown.
Exactly.
I
already figured out what the best play for this overtime is, and I'm just sitting here 5 minutes after I heard about it.
I don't know if that's the best play, though.
What's the best play? 50?
And maybe that's why it's only 7.5, because if you do that, then you can't have it. It takes the fun out of that if it's a whole quarter. Yeah, I'll take the ball. I'll take the ball and try to score from my own 1 yard line. I got the whole quarter to do it.
You have 7.5 minutes to do it.
Go ahead, try to score from the 1. Go. You do it. I'm going to stop you, hold you a field
But then what
goal.
if I score and you don't have enough time to score a touchdown? Like I can milk it.
I can milk 7.5 minutes from the 1? How?
40-second play clock. I could take 2-3 minutes off the clock.
Is it a 40-second play clock in the TSL?
I'm pretty sure it's, I don't know.
TSL.
Whatever it is. It's the TSL. I'm getting this out there right now. I'm saying the TSL I'm not going to correct myself anymore. This is ridiculous.
I'm saying in TSL. And also, poll question. If you're using TSL, I mean, this is an easy answer. I'm sure Sam Schwartzstein, if we just texted him, would be like, this is the play you do every single time.
Ooh.
But there's no data. So how do you know? I don't know.
What's the play, Sam Schwartzstein? What's the play?
In TSL overtime? Jerry Glanville wants to know, and so do I. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening and watching. We got to get out of here, though. And next week when we're back, we are going to get into maybe some speculation on what this NDA is. I'm going to dive. Maybe we'll be sleuths. Dive deeper into this NDA. Crack the code. Maybe read into some Instagram posts a little bit more.
Now, she's innovating football. We didn't even talk about this. Innovating for XFL. Innovation. Working on innovation for XFL.
Oh, what could
that mean?
I'm going to get my magnifying glass. I'm going to get my decoder ring. We'll be back next week. I'm going to have a Sherlock Holmes hat on for it, too, on YouTube.
I'm going to get the glasses where it has like the little reflection on the side here so I can see behind me.
Yes. It's good. Come ready to sleuth next week. That's what we'll tell you. And until
like
then.
Canadian thing? Sleuth?
No, it's a sleuth. It's a word for detective.
Where do you get these words from?
I know the English language pretty good. I know it pretty good. But I'm running out of words to say.
I'm gooder than you, sir.
So I'm getting out of here. And we'll be back next week, everybody. Thank you again for liking, subscribing, and doing all that stuff. And, of course, most importantly, for loving football like we do. We'll see you next week, everybody. For Brian, I'm Alan. This is the XFL Show. Remember, they're listening.